p.m. on April 13th. And I'm going to call the... 12th? Okay, April 12th, sorry. And I'm going to call to order the meeting of the River Plantation Municipal Utility District Board of Directors. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the meeting, minutes of the meeting from last month. Okay. I know there's some corrections. The only two residents that were here last month, Davis, were Mark Robin and Dee Judge. So Kathleen Duffy, McElroy's, Horner's, and Mark Denham need to come off.
You did come off. No problem. I can make that change.
Yeah. So, okay. Everything else, I think was okay.
Looked fine to me.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of of last month's meeting with those changes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. All right. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Receive comments from the public. Nobody wrote yes or no. Does anybody have anything they want to address the? And you get signed in. That they want to address the board? No? Okay. Are you guys here for the violation notices?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
suppose we got a call today, so.
Okay.
Well, I guess I do wanna ask, like, when it flooded last week, and that gully after you passed the sports park that was coming over, and as we know, to the right, if you're going up, didn't get cleaned out. So, I mean, if there came a bad flood, how bad
Well,
will
the
that
problem
affect
is
us?
the river was high and there's nowhere for that water to go when the river's higher than it is in here.
Yeah, I hear that, but so there's nothing we can do, we'll just end up getting flooded.
You can call somebody to widen the river. Make it deeper. I mean, that's, if the water can't go, it can't go. There's
Well,
nowhere for it to
How
go.
about cleaning it out? I mean, and you know.
The channel?
This
Yeah.
part of it,
The
yeah.
one up here.
Oh,
No.
are you talking
Are you
about
talking
Stewart's
Stewart's
Creek?
Creek or are you
Yeah.
talking about,
Oh.
she's talking about down
Talking
here.
about
No, we're
here.
talking about over by that big
Yeah,
gully.
she's talking about
past the
down here.
sports park.
Yeah, so, and Stewart's Creek is actually, the county is undertaking a big project for Stewart's Creek.
Oh, okay.
So they're, what was it, $14 million project?
Yeah, they're
That's
with the
gonna be-
Army Corps of Engineers. or something.
Yeah,
What are they gonna do?
They're supposed to be cleaning it up.
cleaning it up and
correcting the
reinforcing the
erosion
banks and,
Issues
Oh,
and things
thank
of
God.
that nature.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good.
yeah, so, okay.
Okay,
Yep, oh, yeah.
okay,
Okay.
I didn't put a yes there, but I understand information is available now on the utilities and whatever the costs were for the Plant 3.
The tank,
The tank.
tank 3.
Yep.
Okay, Dee, here's the deal. To actually operate the tank doesn't really cost, it's negligible. Because all that happens is the water gets pumped from the well up into the tank, and then gravity feeds the water out.
Okay.
So the cost of utilities for that is negligible. Now, the only expense that comes into play for the tank is about every 15 to 20 years, it has to be coated on the inside and the outside. And the rough cost of that is $150,000 to $200,000. So you're looking at roughly $10,000 a year as you extrapolate those numbers out. So it's about $10,000 a year. Now, if you were to take the tank away, if we were to do away with the tank, and one of the things you brought up was cutting the grass and maintenance and things like that. If you were to take the tank away, that's more area that needs to be cut by a lawnmower. And so that cost may change also. So the reality is that the only expense that we could come up with was coating the tank itself.
Okay, well, I've got a question. Looking at the expenses on the expense list, where are the, what's being charged to the electrical bill or whatever? I mean,
For the well
for the well?
itself,
Keep it.
Oh, okay.
it has to keep pumping. So the electricity that goes through that system, right there at that whole complex, is just for the well. Okay?
Okay, but I have one more,
Okay?
but I'll say that for next month.
Oh, not tonight?
No.
Oh, come on, Dee.
Come on. No, I gotta bring it back.
You still got 30 seconds left.
Just gotta keep us in suspense.
That's
All right.
right.
There you go. All right, Carol. That was perfect timing. Checks, okay. Oh, I got one second. Yeah.
When Carol gets done, can I make a comment? I just thought of something.
On her stuff or on something else?
No, on the stuff that Tim was talking about.
Go ahead.
Okay,
I think I
you're
already had that.
talking
Don't we already
about
have
the
that?
tank, I'm talking about the plant.
Oh, okay.
Do what now?
I'm talking about the plant.
The wastewater treatment plant?
No, the plant number 3, I'm not just talking about the one tank there, I'm talking about the plant. But there, everything else that's in it. See, for 12 years, all we had was the well. Then when the tank went up, then you had to have the other tank, you had to have the generator, you had to have all these other pumps. I'm talking about the cost for the plant.
They're, like I said, the cost of any of the operations there is negligible. The generator doesn't really cost anything because it's a standby generator.
Okay.
So it just sits
Well,
there.
you got chlorine costs, you must have something going on with the pump. What does that tank do?
The tank just holds water.
The littler, the smaller tank,
Does maintain pressure in the system.
it maintains the pressure?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's nothing else.
And the chlorine would still feed right there at the tank, so the chlorine would still continue to be on site. You'd want to feed the chlorine before you sent it into a transmission line.
Well, yeah, but,
So-
you know, before when the well was there, that was, all there was the well, because everything went to 2.
Right, but they would have been still feeding chlorine at water plant 2, so the chlorine feed at water plant 2 would have been doubled.
Okay, how far back do your bills go? Do you know, for, as far as records here in the mud?
Probably as far back as, what did we find on the minutes the other day?
You had what, 66?
66?
Well, that was the minutes.
Well, I know, but there's boxes and boxes back there.
Records that were destroyed in the flood.
Yeah. There's boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff back there,
Okay.
so. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. All right. Carol?
Okay, so let's take a look at your tax report. So reporting through March, the district collected with penalty and interest, $21,33.85. The balance remaining to be collected is $106,794.64. If you look on the very back page, the district is 92.1% collected.
Good.
That's very good. So, and that's your tax report, unless you have a question about it.
That's awesome.
Motion to accept the tax report.
I'll make a motion, we accept the tax report.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, so next is your bookkeeper report. So look at your cover page for the spotlight. This is regarding funding of capital improvement plans. Various districts, can use a variety of revenue, either tax or water sewer revenue, or selling bonds. So this is just kind of gives you a little spotlight of those options. Let's go to page 5 for your operating cash flow. Okay, so the only checks I want to really point out is check 23,641 for J&K for tree removal, 2,275. We had NCAD fees.
That was the other half of, was that the one that was the other half of
believe
something?
So,
Of the house over
Oh,
on
yeah.
Fairfield.
and then check 23,666 for the, Montgomery Central Appraisal District for 1,872.51. And then check 23,684 for Synaptic Integrations for the surveillance equipment for 10,673.18. And everything else are just your usual expenses. So each balance in that account is $4,089.23.
So the payment for Synaptic,
The other half.
is that's a half?
Yeah. About a half. Yeah. Okay.
So following that is your, the operator account with a balance of $49,565.11. That's followed by your tax deposit account with a balance of $116,445.72. And once we know for sure that, you know, what funds are not needed, we transfer those to the Texas class. But we were kind of short on time, so we couldn't do that this time. Next is your actual versus budget comparison. Let me know if you have any questions regarding any of the variances. We are reporting through the end of March. Then we can go
Did
to.
East Plantation ever catch up on that August invoice?
Okay, I asked him about the August invoice. They had sent a check, but it never cleared. We never received it. So they are issuing a stop payment and issuing a new check. So I told him I will be watching for it
Okay.
and let him know when it's received.
Did they happen to get the new address to send it to since I'm gonna be gone?
They should be sending it to us. I mean, we have been receiving the checks to our office.
Oh, because I've been picking them up at the post office. Just double check, because
I will
it's still been
double check.
going to the post office the last couple I've picked
Okay.
up.
And I will, I'll talk to, I'll do a direct email to their bookkeeper.
Okay.
Just to confirm that she is using our address to send checks. Of course, I think he actually mails the checks,
Okay.
so I'll have to confirm with him also.
Okay.
So let's look to page 14, capital projects fund. There, the checks listed, 1018 is for specialized maintenance services for pay application 4 and final payment for sanitary. I don't know what this was for, sanitary,
Oh, the sanitary sewer televised stations.
that's what I thought was televised. So with, after those checks cleared, the balance remaining is $327.96. Look to page 16 for your sewer treatment plant. Reporting checks 1011 through 1016. Disbursements totaling $22,178.30. As followed by your actual versus budget comparison for the sewer treatment plant.
Is any of that the repair of the belt press thing?
No, sir, that hasn't been billed yet, but the work is
Okay.
complete.
Oh, okay.
So next, on page 19, is the joint drainage account. Total disbursements were $44.36. We have a balance remaining of $3,887.80. And that's followed by the actual versus budget comparison for that fund. Let's see, then page 22, your debt schedule, your next debt payment is due September 1st, 2023, and it is a principal and interest payment totaling $225,728.13. That's followed by your investment profile. You will see 4.91% for the money market for your Texas class. However, we're already seeing it over 5%. That's just at the time that we ran this report. Federal Reserve raised the point to that 25 points, so yeah, we're going to definitely see interest over 5%. That's followed by your account balances with all funds being recorded. The district has a total balance of $7,489,337.43. Page 27 is your capital projects fund. Now, total funds remaining, $5,636,999.28. And lastly is your AWBD conference. Julie and Kim have registered to attend. So that is your bookkeeper report.
Bookkeeper's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the bookkeeper's report.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I need a motion to approve paying the district's bills.
I make a motion to approve paying the district's bills.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, Keith, operator's report.
Good evening, should have a copy of our report in front of you for the month of March. Show you 975 connections, 5 of those being vacant, received $63,266.06. And revenue beneath that's a summary of your gallons billed by user type. For the period ending March 20th, total gallons produced, 7,175,000 gallons. Billed out just over 6.5 million gallons, accounting for 93% of the water. We had 3 leaks in the district, we took the 6 bacteriological samples as required per the TCEQ, and those results were good. Beneath that is your wastewater treatment plant operation for the month of March. The bulk of the data there, as I mentioned prior to the meeting, was duplicated from last month, given just the meeting date moving up. We don't have the lab data anymore yet finalized and submitted to the state, so I'll update that accordingly, but don't anticipate any issues there. The flow number is updated, so the 344,000, that is a real average daily flow for the month of March, so the plant's at 57% of the permanent capacity. Just beneath that, you'll see that we did provide water to the golf course, 302,000 gallons. It was turned on for a handful of days. Shortly thereafter, they'd asked us to turn it off. There was a leak that they wanted to get addressed. And then beneath that's just a summary of your customers who have consumed in excess of 30,000 gallons and those in excess of 50. And then beneath that's the summary of your age receivables, pretty good shape there. And then at the bottom is just the graph showing your accountability 2022 over 23. Outside of the written report, really not much else to report other than, as was mentioned during the bookkeeping report, the belt on the belt press, that work is complete. Total cost on that I think was just over $2,000, so we should see that next month. We had a mainline break. We had discussed it previously. They're off of Shiloh. It required us to pull up the road. We had notified the county prior to doing any excavation before we saw cut the road. I've been working to try to get some labs and everything set up so we can do the proctors and the densities to ensure that the county's happy that we're putting it back to county spec. All that work should be kicking off here in the next day or two, assuming we can get some dry weather. Really, that is all I have for you, unless there's questions.
I got a question on the report.
Yes, sir.
Where does it show the water going to the golf course?
Just beneath the wastewater treatment plant where I summarize all of the lab data, total gallons of reuse
Yeah.
for the month of March.
Oh, I see. So it's an abbreviation there.
Yes, sir, so
Okay.
it's in millions of gallons, so
I got you.
302,000 gallons.
Okay.
In the month of March.
All right,
Make a motion that we accept the operator's report?
okay, second,
A second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Engineers report, Taylor?
All right, permits, the wastewater permit renewal, that's all been submitted as we said last month. We did get some questions regarding the reuse system, so since it's been revived because of Charleston Park, we're having to do a little bit extra on that. The annual report for the stormwater quality management plan has been submitted. That MS4 permit does expire January 24. And so we're waiting, I believe, ironically, sometime later this year, they should come up with a new permit requirements for the future years. So it's not much we can do on it now, but we're waiting for them. East Ditch FEMA work, they approved that 1-year extension. We're waiting on the approval for the cost increase. We did receive and address some comments before the EPA, before FEMA reviews it. They have the Texas GLO review it, and so we're in that process right now. But things are moving forward. The East Ditch maintenance, I did talk with them authorizing that work to commence this month. So hopefully we'll get a clean out before next meeting. We should. Nothing new on the wastewater treatment facility rehab. I haven't heard anything out of East Plantation. I do need to reach out and touch base with Preston just to see what the meetings have been like. I know they've been dealing with some other stuff. Moving on to district projects, we're under full design for the electrical upgrades of design. Hopefully have something for you guys in May that we can start looking at requesting authorization to bid. Storm sewer phase 1, those bids are due the 21st of April, so we'll have them for your May meeting. District-wide drainage study, we are working on a proposal to evaluate the existing drainage conditions, still hashing that out, we'll have that in May. Moving on to construction projects, nothing new on the first 2 items. The third item, sanitary sewer phase 1 rehab, they're doing all their pre-televising, so they'll always televise the line prior to it just to make sure that we didn't miss something or they didn't miss something in the bid. And then the Gunston storm, it says substantially complete, that's not true. They poured the concrete collar around the box, they're gonna put a cap on it, steel kind of like we discussed, and then everything will be below surface, so grass will grow back over it. Last couple items, Charleston Park irrigation, that work has commenced to evaluating the existing system, and they will be providing recommendations to bring it into operations. I assume we'll have that in May for the May meeting. Obviously, I think you guys have both noted, and then full facility exhibit, we can talk about that. I mean, they're both. That's all I have, unless you have any questions. I know we've had a couple things come up, but other than that, pretty straightforward.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the engineer's report? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the engineer's report.
No. Do I have a second?
A second.
And one thing to note, when we get those bids in, I'll probably be bringing a breakdown through bond app, kind of where funds are about to go, things that we have pending, the reason we're still holding on to some funds, just to kind of give you guys a full snapshot of things to come, things that are already underway and whatnot.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is, do we want to do that in executive?
I think it might be a good idea if we have an executive session before
Okay.
we address that item. I think it'd be a good idea to jump to item 7.
Okay,
Come back to that one, 6
Okay.
later.
all right. Number 7 is the public hearings on the violations. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll get us started. So the board, you should have received, it's always through blind copy because we're not allowed to talk business outside of meetings, but you should have received 2 violation notices. We have 3 ongoing violations. The thought was to handle 2 tonight. It's a lot, and do Tackus next month by itself. That's a little bit even bigger matter than the 2 that are here tonight, although the 2 here tonight are also very serious. So you have before you, and I'll share my screen in a few minutes if we need to. I have the ability to do that, but we have the 2 violations And let me just set the stage briefly, and then we'll open the floor to comments by the property owners, and then the board can talk and ask questions. And it's a formal thing we're doing, but it's not overly, pomp and circumstanced at all. It was kind of free form, and we work our way through this. So the first one I think that the board should talk about is the 531 Natchez matter, and the board is familiar with this. We had a situation where there's a vacant lot there that's being developed that started back at the end of last year. And during the process of that development, the work that was being done made its way onto your park, Charleston Park, and a sizable area was raised, R-A-Z-E-D. Many trees were destroyed, shrubbery, the greenery, and obviously that's not something you authorized. You have a set of park rules in place that specifically address these situations. And what they tell the public has been informed of the rules. There were public meetings, there are signs posted, is that they can't do anything destructive on the park, can't destroy the trees, the flora, the fauna, certainly can't trespass, not allowed to operate motorized equipment. The board is very familiar with these rules. And that happened, and it's been well documented through a series of photographs. And so what we did at the board's direction is send a violation notice to the owners of that lot, 531 Natchez, and they happen to live here in River Plantation. I believe they're there tonight. It's Barbara and Alfredo Carrillo. They have a investment company that owns the lot, and they'll be able to talk to you in just a minute. I'm almost done. But we've notified them of the situation, asked them to come down and talk to you about how to make this right. So there's a couple things on the table. The board has received 2 estimates for repairs, and basically the way you repair a situation like this is you have to reestablish the vegetation, and there's watering and other things that go along with it. The 2 estimates that you received, they're actually pretty close. One of them is, and I can show these if you need to, but I'll tell them to you, is $12,270.75. And then the second estimate, and I like it when estimates are close because it means everyone's being honest. The second estimate is $11,100. And so, you've got $11,000 or $12,000 worth of work to restore it. That's sort of a restitutional number. You also have the ability to fine the offending parties up to $20,000 per violation per day for what has happened out there. In this case, one violation would more than cover the damage, and you don't have to ever assess the full amount. What I recommend in these situations, and you're able to deliberate on this in executive session and then come back out and sort of deliver your findings, but you also can talk in the public meeting if you like. It's however you want to handle the violation discussion. But what I suggest is we hear from the property owners, and then again, if we need to show the photos or anything, Julie, you may have them. I've got them here and I can share my screen, but there's no question that it happened. You can even see in the photos the stakings, and then a substantial area completely demolished past the stakings onto the park. It's quite obvious what happened. And also, let me say, I'm very sorry I can't be there tonight. I'm in a hotel in McAllen for a hearing I have down here, so that came up last minute, or I would definitely be there. I had to fly out this morning. So, board, before we hear from the Carrillos, do you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to say?
No. I will just make the comment, Paul, that I do not have those pictures on that laptop, so you may have to share it if they want to see it.
Yeah, I may pull them up while they're talking. So Mr. and Mrs. Carrillo, I understand you're there. Now would be the time to address the board and share any information you may have for their consideration on the matter.
Yes, I have the pictures and video. I don't see any damage today to cost 12,000 or whatever amount you said. I have it proof with me, so.
Okay, firstly, we didn't get notified of a violation. This is the first we're hearing of it, honestly. We didn't get a
It wasn't
notification.
you weren't
We
notified?
were not notified. We received a phone call today. That's the first notification we
Well, you
received.
received a letter, and Mr. Carrillo acknowledged receiving that letter to me on the phone, and so we sent it by
No,
certified
he
mail.
thought,
and
he thought
regular-
you were speaking of a different situation for Natchez Park.
Yes, that's
we
that's
received-
it, correct.
No, for Natchez, for parking on Natchez Park.
Oh, that's somebody
That's
else.
something
That's
else
not us.
completely. Yeah, we didn't receive a notification for this
Were they,
issue.
weren't they hand
Are you
delivered,
able
Paul?
to
or-
see my screen? Yeah, oh, no, there's no question it was sent.
Okay.
Are y'all able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, this is the violation notice here, and it was sent, these go from the operator, because they're sort of the tip of the spear, for the district, and so this is the notice that was sent, certified mail, regular mail, and you can see the meeting tonight, and I appreciate.
You might wanna
y'all-
blow it up, cause all we see is your, folders.
You need to open it up.
Yeah,
My folders, uh-oh.
Yep.
Let me see here. Let me see. Well, I had it opened.
oh,
Let me do a different thing here. So give me a second.
okay.
Why it's doing it like this? But, you received, that letter, or should have. It was sent to you by certified mail. Here we go. I've got it. That should be on the screen now. Certified
There you
mail
go.
and regular mail by the operator. And regardless, we're glad you're here. And so this is for work that was done in the December timeframe. And we sent this notice to you, and it tells you basically all the facts that
That's what
we're
they said,
talking
that's what
about
they said,
tonight.
right?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
And so this is the notice you received, and it has a copy of the park rules in here. We can go over them if you need to, but they're very,
Okay, I do remember
Simple
getting
to
this. I just thought this
understand,
was
and
a
they-
warning
Yeah.
notice. I
well,
didn't-
so let me explain what you're seeing here. So it's not a warning in that your crew already did damage to the park.
Right.
And so you're here tonight because of that. There's
But
many
we-
ways this could have been resolved, and you could have simply been sued in
I'm
court.
confused. You're talking about Natchez Park or is it a different park?
it's the house on Natchez,
It's
531
your,
Natchez.
the lot
Right.
that
The lot
gives
that
to your
abuts the
investment.
It's
park.
the Charleston.
Yeah,
Behind-
Charleston
behind your
Farms, behind the
Golf
house.
course.
Okay.
Correct.
I think I get confused because I submit application to remove some growing bushes in the back. Specific it,
You,
I send you pictures.
But nobody can give you, well, okay, go ahead.
did you see the photograph on the screen?
Yes.
That we have 10 more of these. That is on the
No.
park. That is not on the lot you own.
That's
And
not-
it was done.
It's not in the
Fine.
map. That's what I asked Mr. Angel T. I sent pictures of everything and they say they approve it.
To who?
It was to the CIA.
This is-
That's a
the
different
ACC.
organization, that's not
Okay,
us.
that they approve
Right,
it.
but
They
So,
can't approve
They can't
to
approve that.
do anything on our property.
I'm my confused because that's what I have to say approve.
because we were wanting to have the lot cleared in front of us as
But you
well.
applied to have the
So-
lot cleared, your lot cleared, you did not apply to have the.
I think
There's
I
a
applied for that
property
one too, because
You
I
can't
said,
apply to
didn't.
have our park cleared.
Well,
I
we
don't know,
didn't
I don't know
know
who
that-
owned, I don't know
We
who
thought
owned the
it
park.
was RPCIA's
I think
park.
it's only one organization,
not.
now
We
it's two.
didn't know that.
No.
We thought that's what we had gotten permission to do.
Well,
Because every other house on the golf course, except for Bernadette's, is cleared. Like, they can see.
So did you, when
to
you applied
the
for
golf
that,
course.
you submitted a survey, correct?
Yes.
Showing where you were going to,
As
okay.
we
And
submit
when you
everything.
submitted that survey, that property line on that survey is all you were approved for.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I
that,
mean,
they
we
asked,
understand that now.
they asked for that bush, specifically.
And it wasn't, there were no trees.
It's not
To
tree,
be
I got
clear, there were
picture
no
before
trees.
you
Paul, do you
asked
have
it.
the
all
picture of
bushes.
the tree stumps?
It was
Yeah,
all
there were,
shrubbery.
and I'll show that in a second. There were trees, but I wanted you to see, because the view from the last photo was basically, we were not on your lot, we were on the property line facing into the park. We're now in the park facing your lot.
Yes.
Right.
And so you have to think about this logically. The only thing you will ever have authority to clear is your own lot.
Yes.
You can't go clear a park. in Harris County, they would arrest you for that. So this is, your crew went way beyond your property line, and that's why we're here. And it's obvious. You can see you can even see the filter fabric fencing around your lot. And so all of this clearing past it unquestionably should not have happened.
Yeah, well, the fabric was put up afterward because
Yes.
Bernadette was complaining about,
Now, that is
Water
required
entry.
by, the county. You have to
No,
have
you
that
go-
up in
no,
any
no,
they
construction.
said,
she
they
called
said
the
it
county.
wasn't.
That guy, he worked from the county, he called me.
Well, the picture,
They
I will tell you of
recommended that we
the
put the-
stake, I took it myself
Okay,
that next day.
okay,
So there was no, I took it the next day.
okay.
So
Yeah,
here's a picture of some of the stumps and the trunks that were ground. There's many more of these.
I mean, it's
I mean,
all
you can
grown
see it
back.
right here. This is
In-
clearly.
There are no
the park.
trees that size that have grown back.
No,
No.
the shrubbery has all grown back.
The
but-
weeds have grown back.
you know.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah,
That's what it was. It was all
How am I
weeds.
gonna keep my property clean?
That
the
is
back-
not my
the
problem. You
backyard?
can only keep it clean in your,
Yeah, but you're gonna send me
property line.
letters if you don't keep it clean.
I won't, because I don't have anything to do with you keeping it clean.
Correct.
Okay.
But
So
you
you
have
have
does
your own
everybody
property, and
else-
you gotta,
Right.
you gotta keep
So-
your own property clean, not somebody else's property.
So how does everybody else get that clear view? Like, how do they get it cleared?
I'm assuming it's on their property because they're not touching Charleston.
No,
And,
but I'm
and you
saying
know Charleston used to be
everywhere.
a golf course, right?
Yes,
So
Okay.
they could.
Yeah.
So
but I'm
a lot of
saying
it could have been
every
cleared during
other-
that time.
house has a clear view, like it's open to the golf course.
That
The
was
only
all
reason
The
that
only thing
one
I
was
can say is
grown-
because it was part of the golf course.
Correct.
And the
it
golf
was
course
private
always cleared it
property.
all.
Right, but this was too.
No.
And
But
it
there
was
was
never
no house
cleared.
on it, so it was never cleared. But that does
Exactly.
not give you the right to go clear my property, our property.
Right, but if we requested it, would it have been approved, is what I'm
No.
asking.
No, not
Why-
clearing.
But why
No.
not?
Because there's
It's
not
our
a
property.
process.
Right,
Yeah,
but
yours.
It's
why,
on-
but why can't it be cleared if everybody
would
else's
be-
is
it would
cleared
be-
and up and kept up with? Because then we would have rodents
We
coming
didn't
onto
have
our
anything to
property.
do with.
Your responsibility would be up to your property line.
Right,
And then
I
beyond
understand that.
beyond that, it would be cut as part of the normal, green
Maintenance.
space maintenance.
So would it be cut down, or would it be
Every 2 weeks this
sodded?
time of
Like,
year.
I mean, because,
We're not gonna resod it, no.
No.
right, but that's what I'm saying, like, every other house on the golf course.
That
has
was
it.
before we owned it. We
Right.
had nothing to do with that.
But there are other
Right.
homes on the golf course that are not cleared.
There's like two,
There's more than that.
and that's because they want it that way.
I can only
Well, let
tell
me-
you, okay, go ahead, Paul.
Well, I just want to say this, just to clear up, if there's some confusion here, is that, and I'll show you an aerial here in a minute if it's helpful, but I think everyone understands the issue, and there's really no denying that the clearing happened. So let me just say a couple things. The district has only owned that golf course, I'd have to pull up the deed, but it was paid for last May, maybe a year ago, when we issued the park bonds. Any clearing that happened before that would have been under the jurisdiction of the country club itself. The country club used to own all three courses, and we acquired one or two to create the park. And so after we owned it, we adopted park rules that said, this is now a park, everything people have been doing beforehand with the permission of the country club or not, with the country club even knowing, has to stop, and we posted it in a public meeting, and we posted it on signs. And so there is no process to come and apply to destroy a district park. And so it's unfortunate that there was confusion related to that, but the park is owned by the district, and it is meant to stay in the condition in which it was found. Any clearing happened under the ownership of the prior owner, which was not a governmental entity and didn't create it as a park. It was a pay-to-play golf course. So that's the issue. Or you obviously can take into account their statements about the confusion in deciding what to do here. But I do want to be clear for the public that you can't clear the golf course. It is now a park. It's not owned by River Plantation Country Club, and it is an unauthorized act that is finable.
Okay, well, how we can fix this? I can plant soil if you want, so make it look better. But everything is growing up again, very bad.
I mean, it looks horrible. I mean, it's growing over just like it was before, like it's just brush.
I can plant soil. Whenever we plant soil in the back of the house, I can do the same soil we're having in the golf cart on the park. And make it look pretty, or do the flower bed or something nice. You don't have to spend any money, I can fix it, so. What do you want, flower bed, soil, we can do whatever we want, trees, make it look pretty.
I don't think that's what we're not asking you to repair it. We're asking, we've got bids from contractors to repair it, and I think the board needs to look, to consider those bids. I mean, if we let you repair it, you're gonna repair it, how do I wanna say this? You're gonna repair it the way you think you want it, not the way
No, we're
it was.
asking what you want,
So-
how you want it repaired. We'll repair it how you want us to.
Well,
No.
that's,
I mean,
No.
I don't think that's a
10,000
good
for
idea,
that.
because first of all, that's our park and we have insurance to cover it, and we have a responsibility to the community for our park, and we just can't let anybody go in and start planning what they wanna plant. We're gonna have to take care, we have insured people that are gonna come in, we've got the bids for it already to clear up the damages.
Okay, with like $11,000 or $2,000, what are you gonna do with it?
well, I had bids just for trees, 3 trees, was $2,300 a tree for that size
How-
stump.
big of a tree is that?
3 to 4 inch tree, 3 to 4 inches
That's
diameter.
excessive.
That's basic numbers.
They were $2,350 a tree,
And then there was grass, I think the section
Yeah.
was like 40 foot by 160.
185.
Yeah, so we have to
Yeah,
put grass on that section.
You can see
But
on
it,
the
listen, it
screen.
didn't have grass though, that's what I'm saying.
But
And
now it
that's
has
what we're
mud, if we
offering
have
to
now it
do.
has mud, and we have to bring it back up to a
No,
park
it doesn't
standard.
have mud, it's
No.
brush, it's the same brush
I
that
have
was
a
there.
picture before.
No,
There's the picture of what the way it was before.
Yeah, y'all, show them the pictures you have, and if y'all wanna look at the screen real quick, you can see the
Let's see what it
area.
looks like today.
And this is what it looked like before.
Let me point out something I think is relevant. Before the park, you know, it's not possible to restore the park
Right.
to exactly what it was before, right?
Right.
And so the board, at its discretion, has to do and make a
That's all the
decision
dirt.
how best to restore it to get it
Well,
as
that's in my
close
property
to
there.
its prior condition as
That's down here.
possible.
Which is where it's at, that's what I'm saying. Now, it's back to its prior condition.
There's no
It's
trees.
shrubbery, yeah, I mean, but those were not $2,300 trees.
I'm just telling you, I went through, we have a bid for just the trees at $2,350 a tree. We have 2 bids for the whole entire project that were, one was 11,000, what'd you say it was, Paul?
That's-
11,100.
Correct. And the other one's more, it's 12,200 or something like that. I can pull it up, but it's the same thing here. And so you have one of the bids here, and basically everyone was talking, which is what's supposed to happen. But David was making a good point, which is it's like when you have a car that's been wrecked. It's never the same after. You just have to get it as close as possible, and or at least as close as the harmed party will allow it, will accept. And so we have, you're not required to let it just grow back and look gross and all that.
But that's how it was. It did look gross, and it's growing back just how it was. That's what's confusing to me, and
But
now
that's
you're wanting
not
to
the
clear
point.
it and sod it, which is what we're offering to do, what we wanted to do to begin with, and now you're doing that, but charging us to do it when that's what we offered to do.
No, you didn't. So you're doing it after the fact. And so
Right.
we can't lose sight of the fact that there was an illegal and unauthorized clearing of the park. You're not allowed to do that. It is something you cannot do.
Right, I understand
And so that is why
We're
we're
clear on
here.
that.
Right,
But the
right,
thing is,
that's
now
my
you're
point, is
charging
you don't
to
get
make
say-
it look better than it did before, which is what we were trying to do. That was our
That's what
intention.
happened. It's up to the board to decide what they think is fair, and obviously, if y'all want to contest it, there are legal remedies. I'm not your lawyer, I can't advise you on that. You're certainly welcome to talk to a lawyer about the next steps. But I think that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. The point is, if you hit a car that has a dent on it, on the back bumper, and you hit the back bumper, you have to pay to fix the bumper. And you don't get to say, oh, it already had one dent on the bumper. That's not how this stuff works. There was an unauthorized activity that no question destroyed trees and shrubbery and stuff on the park. And so the reason we've asked y'all to come down here, the board, with its notice, was to talk about it. And so they're hearing from you and they're receiving good information. It sounds to me like, and board, this is my take on it. You guys get to make the decisions. I'm just one of your lawyers, that this wasn't intended, to destroy. It wasn't on purpose. I don't think it was done it certainly wasn't done in the proper way, and if it were me, I would know better. Personally, Paul Raddish would know better than to go onto some park and start cutting stuff down. I'd be afraid they'd come and arrest me. But I don't think it was done with ill intent or anything like that at all. It doesn't sound like that. So those are factors you can take into account, and you have the bids to get it back to the trees that are missing. You don't have to do that. You can handle it however you want to. But that's, I think, where we are. And Mr. and Mrs. Creel, just trying to move this along, do y'all have anything else you want the board to consider on the matter before they go into executive to talk about it?
Yes, the sewer pipe.
Oh, well, that's different.
No,
Okay.
who owns the sewer pipe? You or the other crew?
We do the taps.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about, the connection, the sewer connection?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the company you hired to, I don't know, to do the service, they say, I had to do it, and they're gonna inspect it.
Correct.
And then I go to the county, and they say, nah, I'm not allowed to do it. The company has to do it.
Correct. We're not gonna let you, an individual, connect to our sanitary sewer line. It has to be
we've got several different clients and districts in Montgomery County, and typically the way that sanitary sewer connections are handled is the contractor would hire a licensed plumber, they would go out, they make the connection, they leave it exposed, we would inspect it, and then the hole would be backfilled. I'm not, again, we've got business all over Montgomery County, and that's always been the case. I can reach out to the county, visit with the board, and kind of, based upon conversations and our understanding, from the county, we can put together numbers if that's the direction that we need to go to do the road and the connection and everything else. Typically, again, this is a little bit out of the norm, but, I would think that our number would be to, assuming that we get the, clear answer from the county, we'd run it to, essentially, same thing on the water line, right? We get the service to the lot, and then it's up to them to plumb to it. So let me reach out to the county. We've got some contacts there. Let me visit with the board, and then we'll go from there.
And I'm sorry, but I don't wanna make it this big deal, but that's the bush in the back of the house. It's not a very pretty tree or something like that, that's just a bush. And I think that Crest Management, they can approve to remove the ugly bush.
We
Chris-
have nothing to do with it.
That's the RPCI.
Yeah, that gets confused, I don't know, there's two different people working. in the
Well, that's how the
community.
subdivision works. There's the CIA, which is the homeowners association, which is managed by Crest Management, and then there's the municipal utility district that handles all the water and sewage,
It's just two.
and the park.
Well, yeah, that's That's what we did.
That's the bush, so it's not pretty
It's
tree.
not a tree, it was a bush. It wasn't a tree. It was not a 65-gallon oak tree, that's for sure. I love oak trees, I
Nobody
would
said it was a
never.
65 gallon.
That's what you're charging us for,
So,
so. That's
it was a
what- that's
3-inch
Right,
diameter.
but the quote says 65-gallon oak tree, 3 65-gallon oak trees, that's what the quote
It
says.
says 3 65-gallon oak trees? I don't think so.
Can you?
Is that what it's,
Pull
is
it
that
back
what?
up. I'll let me pull it up.
Okay.
And you will read everything.
We have to work with the plants that are commercially available. I don't know that the trees that were there are commercially available in that size, but that's certainly something that we could discuss.
I don't know, all I know is I asked for a 3-inch diameter live oak.
But they were bushes. Like,
Well, that's fine, we can pay for that, for not $11,000 for 3 trees, so I can pay to make it look pretty, it's not a big deal. If it's gonna be nice and pretty, that's fine, but nice.
that's what we want, but $11,000 seems excessive for what was done. A clearing of bushes is basically what was done. And 11,000 for that seems excessive, that's all we're saying. Because we want it to look good, obviously was our point. Obviously, yes, we went about it the wrong way. We didn't know, honestly. And that's our fault, but 11,000 seems excessive.
Well, the board will discuss it.
Right, I was gonna say, board, is there anything else you'd like to hear at this time?
No.
Okay, so what I think we can do is y'all can talk about that in executive and then issue your decision. Before we do that, I think we ought to take the evidence on the next violation hearing, if that sounds okay?
Yep.
Okay, and thank you again, Mr. and Mrs. Carrillo, for coming in and presenting all that.
One more thing,
Okay.
the letter from the lawyer, so, the trespassing letter in Natchez Park.
The only letter from our lawyer.
That's CIA.
That's the other,
That's
that's why I got
okay.
confused.
Yeah,
Okay. I was gonna say, the only letter from our attorney was
Okay, it's
that
that
letter.
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, it came from the operator, obviously the
Or from the
lawyer prepared
operator.
it, but the operator issues those letters on behalf of the district. But again, this just shows everybody needs to follow the rules and take it very seriously. So, okay, we have our next matter, and it's the damage to the parking lot. We sent Muni Ops sent a certified package to Jose Malay, I'm assuming. Is
me.
Jose
That's
there?
you? Yep, he is.
Okay, wonderful. So you get what to do here, board. So let me just show, I'll put this on the screen. Give me a second. Tedious with Teams this way, there's so many screens popping up everywhere. But here is the violation notice that was sent as well, and you can see that it was received. They're there tonight. I had talked to Mr. Carrillo. I wasn't able to talk to Mr. Malay, if that's how you say that, I'm not sure. And it's the same thing here. It's under your park rules, which is a funny sounding thing, but here's the notice, and then you have the rules attached. But the park rules, and we call them that for short, they're really your property rules. They apply expressly to all district property. Now, the biggest asset you own is the park by a lot. But you own other things, including your administrative building and the parking lot and the driveways and things that go along with it. And they're covered by those rules, and they say the same thing. No trespassing, no unauthorized operating of vehicles, no misuse of district property, and certainly no causing damage to district property. And so on the night of March 24th, and again, I'll just show a few photos here, and then we'll hear from the gentleman. So on the night of the 24th, there was some damage done. I'll show these photos now to the parking lot, and fortunately, the board has put security cameras out there. It's a good chance to see how well they work. And so you can see the car there, and then doing donuts in the parking lot late at night. You see the time up here and the date stamp there. And so the next day, we see what the damage was. And this is just a tacky thing, obviously. It's not something that should be done to anyone's property, certainly not government property. This is where the public comes so there has been this damage done. And the car was traced to the gentleman that we have submitted the notice to. I'm glad he's here to talk about that. Julie, I believe you received a quote for the repairs. I can pull it up if y'all would like to see it. Just save time, I will tell the board that it's $850 to remove that material that was left there damaging the parking lot. So $850 worth of damage. And again, you can fine up to $20,000 before deciding what to do. I think we ought to hear from Jose. And so please, sir, any information you have, this would be a good time to share it.
Yes, sir. On March 24th, the car is for my son. He's about to be 16, so we bought the car. They drive and test the car the 24th. So I was not in the car. The guy that sold us the car were testing the car with my son inside. I was not aware of the donuts. I will never allow this. I mean, it's dangerous and I'm against all this. We purchased the car legally, then he left, and on March 26th we closed the deal. We went to the bank. I have the bank statements, everything. I paid the guy in the bank. We didn't notice until, I believe, March, or almost April, and when an officer came to me and showed me, and I said, yes, he didn't recognize who was in the driving. Probably was the guy but my son was there. So I'm just here just to do the right thing. Apologies, I know that this, I was shaking when I saw the video. Thank God no one was hurt. And I mean, we have to pay. I'm gonna let my son work for it and pay. I'm gonna pay in full, but he will pay me back in working. And that's it. Again, I was not in that. I want to make sure that you guys know that I was not in the car, but my son was in the car.
Kids do crazy things.
I know.
Teenagers especially.
Now
things happen.
Yes.
But in these days where cameras are everywhere.
Thank God that happened here. I'm sorry, but thank God that happened here for me to raise an awareness and for him, right? 850 can recover. He hit someone or he, I mean, or
Because there were two kids that
yes,
just...
yes. And he was with the guy that sold the car was pretty young, 20s. I'm sure they test drive the car and so, but again, I'm here just to take full responsibility and I'm okay with the money. Just let me know when I have to pay it and apologies again.
Okay.
Sounds good? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can we be dismissed or?
Yeah, you can be dismissed. We'll
Thank you
let
so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have an 8-year-old as well.
Yes.
Good luck, thank you.
Okay, so board, I think that, let me pull up the agenda one more time. I had it there. I think the next items are just for, and David, tell me if I'm wrong. So we can close the public hearing and then go into executive to deliberate to issue your rulings.
Do we want to do the engagement of the Raddick Law Firm while we've got people here? Knock that out? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That'd be great.
Okay.
So,
I'll,
go ahead, Davis.
I guess, Oliver, I could start.
Go ahead.
We have had some conversations recently, and our firm is very focused on general counsel and bond counsel work, and we have done a lot of work with Paul for a long time at a predecessor firm, and then he obviously joined us for several years, and we've just really decided
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, it's great, there's nothing, I mean, you see, we're all very good friends, very, colleagues, love these guys a lot. What we ran into was just a couple conflict issues where, you know, I have to not pull punches in court, to win, because I have an ethical duty to zealously represent my clients in contested matters, and sometimes that, isn't what the, you know, the look that a general counsel bond firm wants. And so we had a few of those, and we just decided, let's go back to the way it was. And I've got plenty of other work. I'm down here in the valley have a hearing in the morning and a trial next Tuesday, but still doing their work, and I would love to continue to represent this board. We've worked together for a few years now, and I really enjoy doing this. Y'all are great people, so it would be a privilege to continue that work for you.
Okay. So do I have a motion to enter into an agreement with the Raddick Law Firm to represent us?
Question on the finances, are they gonna be the same as we've been doing? Or is it gonna
Yeah,
change?
the agreement says so.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not changing anything at all. This really, we ran into just, and I'll give you one funny, just so you understand kind of what we're talking about. Every now and then, I have to call Davis or one of these other GC lawyers as a witness in some of these cases, and we've had lawyers on the other side, oh, there he goes calling his colleagues again, you know, and of course they're going to test it. It's just really ridiculous, the stuff that happens, and so we're trying to just set it up in a way that those kind of issues don't exist anymore. So the letter is straightforward. It basically says it'll just continue like it was before, and just with my law firm doing the work.
Okay. I make a motion that we enter into an agreement with the Raddick Law Firm for professional services.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'll
Thank
sign.
y'all very much.
Okay. Now we're ready to go into executive session? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Got you loud and clear here.
Okay, we're up over here.
I think we're starting to get the hang of this.
That's right.
I only had to come in at 4:30 to figure out how to do it. But I'm getting better.
Right, Betty, you took
Need
the
to
notes,
practice this.
Yeah.
so you can make the motion.
Yeah.
Both cameras are up.
Okay. All right. It is 7:56 p.m. on Wednesday, April 12th. We're back in session. River Plantation MUD Board of Directors. Do I have does anybody want to make some motions?
I'd like to make a motion that, for the Natchez Park violation, that we assess a $15,000 amount if he pays it within 45 days.
Okay.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, and for the second one, the parking lot violation, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the $850 amount and move forward with getting the parking lot cleaned.
Okay. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And the third issue was the community pool up front by the country club, that we would like to have the RPCA take over for us, subject to the community approval. And then we'll vote on it, I guess, after that.
Yep.
You accept the agreement?
Accept the agreement? Yep. Okay, do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
When's our next meeting?
The
Our next meeting is May,
1, 2, 3, 4,
I don't know, I gotta figure out the
18,
dates.
25,
25th?
25th.
May 25th, okay?
I'm sorry, May 25th. One thing May 25th would be the fourth Thursday in May.
Is that Labor Day weekend?
I will tell you-
Memorial Day
It's
weekend?
Memorial Day weekend.
That's graduation for my grandson. I won't be
I
able to
just
be.
came in for every
Oh,
report.
you
You
just
wanna
missed
do-
it.
You wanna do Wednesday?
We'll tell you. You wanna do Wednesday, or do you wanna do the week before?
I could do Wednesday. the 24th.
What's your schedule look like, Davis?
Let's see here. I can't do Wednesday. I could do Tuesday,
The 23rd?
the 23rd.
Okay. What's your schedule look like?
I'm good.
Okay, Tuesday the 23rd? Okay.
Okay.
23.
What's that work for you, Paul?
Very good.
Yeah, that does, I was getting it, yeah, I just got it pulled up, that's fine.
Okay. Okay,
I like that better than Wednesday, because I'm in McAllen for court, but I usually play hockey on Wednesday night, so
No.
that.
Hockey.
well, we actually had a member of the community come back in after we came back into session, so, do you have a question? No, it's being recorded. Okay. So, okay. All right, now, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
A second.
Oh, wait a minute, wait,
When do
what?
I get, when you come out of executive?
We did,
We're out of executive.
we're in regular session now.
Oh, okay. so
What you
I-
need?
Oh, okay. What did you all decide on the amount and what would he do with the landscaping of that to bring it
The
back?
amount was $15,000 if he pays us within 45 days.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we will legally proceed.
Okay, now, when he was describing the condition of the place, if I stood to see how and so there were the three large, but there were small ones too, you know?
Yeah.
And then there were like, ligustrums that grew up, and there was no, how do you say that Mexican bush, like I forgot how you call it, that likes water, that drinks water.
Palmettos?
Yes,
Oh,
there
well,
wasn't that on there, but if you all,
I'm not putting palmettos out there.
No.
but if you all bring in and do plant the trees and plant some, space it, and then put some ligustrums so that they can grow back up, because that noise that comes off of that place and the security, and what bothered me is that I told him that was the mud,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
I-
All right,
Okay.
thanks Bernadette.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right,
I second the motion.
meeting adjourned.
Okay.
See you next month.
Thank you, everyone, yep, have a great day and night, and Julie, great trip.
Thank you. I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yes, ma'am, thank y'all.
Tim's in charge.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh,
Call Tim.
just call Tim.